Right, today we're looking at the second half of section 9.6. And our objective today is to be able to graph and find the equation of a hyperbola where the center is not at 0, 0. So the two types of hyperbolas that we're going to have are here in the yellow. We see x minus h quantity squared over a squared minus y minus k quantity squared over b squared equals 1. And this is a hyperbola that opens left and right. Its center is at hk. The foci are at h plus c and h minus c and k, and where c squared equals a squared plus b squared. And the difference of focal radii is 2a. And then for the hyperbolas that open up and down, that is the green here, and as you can see in this one, it's the y minus k quantity squared over a squared minus x minus h quantity squared over b squared equals 1. And so when the y is the positive square, that means it's going to open up or down. The foci are going to be vertical. So it's going to be h and k plus c, h and k minus c, where c squared equals a squared plus b squared. And again, the difference of focal radii is still 2a. Right, so let's look at an example here. So in our first example, we see that it's the the x squared that is positive. So that means that the hyperbola is going to open left and right. And we see that h is -1 and k is +2. So our center is at -1, +2. And we see our a squared equals 1. Remember, in a hyperbola, the a squared is always the positive denominator. So a equals plus or minus 1. Our b squared is 4. So b equals plus or minus 2. And then we need our c value to find the foci, which remember is c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So 1 plus 4. So c equals plus or minus square root 5. Right, now we're ready to graph. We have all our information. So remember, in a hyperbola, the first thing we do is form our box. So in our a direction, which is x, I'm going to go over 1. Oh, I'm sorry. Got it. Sorry. We need to do the center first. We got to plot the center. So the center is at -1, 2. Okay, so this is our center. Then from there, I'm going to go left 1, right 1, because our a value is 1, and our b value is 2, so I'm going to go up 2, down 2 from the center. Then I'm going to make my box, okay, which remember have asymptotes that go through the corners. Okay, and then my actual hyperbola is going to open like this and like this. So the actual hyperbola are just these, the dark branches here with the vertex tangent to the box at those points. Then we got to find our foci. So our foci are somewhere along this line. Okay, and so that's an x direction. So our foci are going to be our center, which is -1, plus square root 5. So our focus number 1 is going to have -1 plus square root 5 is going to be the x coordinate, and the y coordinate is going to be 2. And this focus, focus 2, is going to be -1 minus square root 5, comma 0. Okay? And so there we have the graph of the hyperbola with the center not at 0, 0. Okay, so let's look at example 2. Example 2 is y minus 2 quantity squared over 16 minus x minus 2 quantity squared over 9 equals 1. Okay, so this one, because the y squared is the positive, we know it opens up and down. We know that the center is at 2, 2. We know that our a squared is 16, so a is plus or minus 4. Our b squared is 9. So b equals plus or minus 3. And c squared equals a squared plus b squared. And so c squared is equal to 16 plus 9, or 25. So c equals plus or minus 5. Okay, so now we're ready to start graphing. So again, the first thing you plot is your center, and then everything moves off the from the center. So the center is at 2, 2. And so from there, I'm going to go up 4, down 4, because my a is underneath the y, so that's up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Then for my center, I'm also going to go right 3, left 3. Make your box. Then make your asymptotes. Okay, and I made this one a little high up, but the actual hyperbola branch is going to go like this for the up one, and like this for the down one. And I didn't do this on the previous one, but we should have labeled the vertex. So this is at 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it should be at 2 and -2. Okay, those are the vertices. Then we need the foci. Remember, the foci are on this line. Okay, and so it's going to be the center plus 5. So I'm going up and down. The center plus 5 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there, which is at 2, 7 is the first foci, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is going to be at 2, -3 is the second foci. Right. Okay, so that's the basics of graphing those. Now let's look at one where we have to find the equation. So example 3, find the equation of the hyperbola having foci at -4, 3 and -4, -5, and difference of focal radii of 6. Okay, so again, just like before, what we want to do is just kind of see where the foci are so we know which way it opens. Okay, so let's just kind of do a graph real quick. And we have -4, -3. I'm sorry, -4, +3. And -4, -5. Okay? Well, remember that the center is exactly in the middle of the foci. So the center has to be on this line. So, so the center has to be at -4 and -1. So it has to be right here. Here's our center, because that's exactly the middle of that. Okay. And we know that the difference of focal radii is 2a. So a has to be 3. Okay, so that means that my vertex are at, from the center, I'm going to go up 3. Because remember, the vertices and the center and the foci are all in the same line. Then from the center, I'm going to go down 3. Okay, so this is going to be -4, +2, and this is going to be -4, -4. Okay, and so we know that the hyperbola is going to go like this and like this, but we need our box to see how wide it is. So we need our B value. But we know our C value, we know our A value, and we know C squared equals A squared plus B squared. Okay, and C is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 squared is equal to 3 squared plus B squared. Oops. So 16 equals 9 plus B squared. Subtract 9. So 7 equals B squared. Okay, so square root 7 plus or minus square root 7 equals B. Okay, so from the center, square root of 7 is between 2 and 3, so I'm going to go about right here. Okay, here's my box. Oops. Okay. Oops, I went over too far. Went over too far. There we go. That looks better. Okay, and there's our asymptotes. And so our actual hyperbola looks like this. Okay. But since it opens up and down, we know it's going to be y squared in the front. So it's going to be y, and our center was at -4, -1, so +1 quantity squared over a squared, and a squared was 9, plus x plus 4 quantity squared over 7 equals 1. So there's the equation of our hyperbola. Right. We also, given the equation in standard form, want to be able to put it in graphing form. And we can also identify what kind of conic it is. So let's say I give you this one. Identify the conic 9x squared plus y squared plus 18x minus 6y plus 9 equals 0. That's standard form. Okay? And find its center and foci. Okay. So let's write it down. We have 9x squared plus y squared plus 18x minus 6y plus 9 equals 0. Well, if we look at it, we see we have an x squared and a y squared. So right away we can eliminate a parabola. We know it's not a parabola. So it could be a circle, it could be an ellipse, or it could be an hyperbola. So what we want to do then is we want to group all our x's, group all our y's, and move everything else to the other side. So I have 9x squared plus 18x plus y squared minus 6y equals negative 9, because I took this 9 and moved it to the other side. Okay, now what we want to do here is complete the square, but remember we can't complete the square if there's a leading coefficient, so we need to factor out the 9, leave something to add, and for the y squared we need space to add something to make it a perfect square. And that means on the other side we're going to add 2 things. Okay? So the thing I'm going to add for the x's to make it a perfect square is a 1. But what I'm really adding is 9 times 1, or 9. So I have to write a 9 over here. Then for the y's I have to add a 9. So I have to add a 9 over here. So this is 9 times x plus 1 quantity squared plus y minus 3 quantity squared equals 9. Okay? So divide through, well actually at this point we know that it's either going to be a circle or an ellipse because we have this plus between them. Now if we divide by 9, we get x plus 1 quantity squared equals over 1 plus y minus 3 quantity squared over 9 equals 1. So since the two denominators are not equal, then we know it must be an ellipse. So it's an ellipse with center at -1, +3. And we know that c squared equals a squared minus b squared. And we know that 9 is our a squared. So c squared equals 8. So c equals plus or minus 2 square root 2. Okay? So our major axis is vertical, so our ellipse is going to look like this. So our foci are going to be affecting the y value of our center. So our foci are going to be at -1 comma 3 plus 2 square root 2 and -1 3 minus 2 square root 2. And that's where our foci will be.